Hello everyone and welcome back to another review. Today we're going to be looking at the Transformers Legacy, Leader Class, Armada, Megatron. It's always a mouthful with these Transformers. That sounds kind of weird in retrospect. Anyway, why don't we take a look at this guy? Right away I have to say that his paint looks pretty immaculate. You can see his face there. Just looks really menacing and has tons of different colors. I would say he looks accurate to the show, but the show model changes like every episode. I'm not a huge fan of the Armada show, I'm going to be honest. Let's flip him around, check out what he's got in his trunk. Again, pretty good paint apps. That's kind of a theme of this figure. It's probably where most of the budget went. This guy's got some great legs, I gotta say, because everything's filled in. They could have left everything hollow, but they didn't. They kind of left his feet a little hollow, but it's fine. And unless you're a freak like me, you're not going to really notice. Now, something I really don't like about this figure is the fact that his forearms are left hollow, and it's really distracting, especially because the rest of the figure has like almost no waffling or anything. He also doesn't have any of the gimmicks. Like, you can still open up this part, but it's just hollow. None of the original gimmicks besides the turret are on this figure. You can even like play around with his head, because originally these are big pincers and you can kind of squeeze them together, but they pop off constantly, especially the left one for me. That's probably just an issue with my figure. But you can just straight up take them off and give him the bald.
Dachi?
That's so bad looking. Here's a closer look at these. I like him. It gives him like a weird kind of beetle look to me. It's a fun thing from the original toy, and it looks a lot better here on this new one compared to the original. But they just fall off way too much. It's kind of bad. All right, why don't we take a look at that turret that I was talking about? All you gotta do is pop this. Oh, God. Okay, let's try again. That sound is so scary to me. It sounds like it's gonna break, and I'm a little worried about the longevity of this guy, honestly. But that's the wrong direction. He did this in the show all the time, and the original figure can do this. Basically, just whip the cannon around to his front, pop it in, and that is a look. That is certainly a look right there. And to make this useful, you can rotate the turret to go in front of him, which is pretty cool. And you can kind of angle it up here to give him kind of a reticle. It's pretty fun. I actually didn't have that snapped in all the way. My bad. I would never display him like this, but it's kind of cool, kind of fun. If I was a kid, I would be blasting people all the time with this. You also can rotate it the other way. And unfortunately, they took the PP mode out. You cannot angle it down anymore. There's a stopper. And I actually do find this annoying because that means you can't rotate the turret 360 degrees. It just stops. It just stops. And it's even worse on the other side. But unfortunately, I understand why they did that. You can also flip out this missile pod like on the original figure. The fires do not missile. What? Strike that, reverse it. You can also rotate that, which I don't think the original figure could do. Oh yeah, and here's a closer look at his back. If you care, you probably don't. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention two more things. You can do this, which actually I think most people display him like this. He does it in the show often. Looks okay. I don't like to do that. You can also flip both his hands to do this and give him like a gun arm. But that just leaves the turret like blank. It kind of fills in the forearm, but I don't know. I honestly don't love the way that looks. And yeah, just to show you can do it on this side. Would have been a lot cooler if that had a knife. All right, let's talk articulation. His head's pretty standard. His arms are just a train wreck. They are so weird. His hands can rotate, which is appreciated. A lot of figures don't have that. You can't rotate his shoulder at all. For a lot of people, this is the worst part of the figure. His shoulders constantly do that. Like, you yank on this, his shoulder, bleh. It just looks funny. It's so bad. Like, I can wiggle it, and he just kind of droops everywhere. Oh, yeah, he has waist articulation. And super great leg articulation. I don't know. This guy's like a cheerleader. His legs only go 90. His toes can do all the toe things. And he actually has this toe pivot, or foot pivot, which looks pretty good. It's very hard to actually do it. Like, clicks into place when you're done, and it's going to stay there. It's kind of weird. All right, in my contract, it says I have to do a size comparison, whoop-de-doo. So why don't we take a look at Bumblebee here? And again, this guy's a leader class. I think he's kind of like a mid-sized leader class. For fun, why don't we bring out a minicon and Demolisher? And yeah, there you go. I think that's kind of in scale. There's Starscream, who I think is a little too small. Red Alert. Red Alert's fine, I think. Optimus Prime, I think is actually a little too big. The original toy for this Megatron, and in the show, he's a lot bigger. And I don't know, engineering-wise, it wasn't really justified. And there you go. He goes past Tidal Wave's knee. Impressive, dude. And that turret does make him seem a lot taller. Oh yeah, and I didn't really know where to put this in. I never talked about the Star Saber in this video. It's so out of scale, it's painful. It's like a dagger. It is so tiny on this guy. Oh my god. They need to make a new one. They really do. I also got Megatron. He is a weird guy. Alright, I'm bored, so why don't we just jump right into this transformation. You're going to want to flip this panel down, which reveals a lot of cool detail, and flip this up. And that's what that little lever on the front was originally for. They still molded it in, which is kind of weird. And you're going to want to tuck his arms away, which kind of reminds me of Shockwave from Transformers Animated. I don't know why. And then do the same on the other side. It's fun and satisfying, very clicky. And yeah, because his arms are completely hollow, these two features are just completely gone, completely removed. And, I think they really could have been there. I really think they should have. Flip his waist around. And then this was actually a lot cooler in the original figure. On this, his toes just kind of bend back. And then you flip this part out. This actually more reminds me of Transformers Animated Shockwave. But you just kind of rotate these up. And then they kind of click in on the sides and on his abdomen. And we are basically done. You just got to make sure everything is fitting together nicely. And I think we are done. And there we go. We have a smart-looking green tank. Let me just move the camera real quick to show you that he can roll kind of nicely. It scratches a little bit. They're not the best wheels, but better than nothing. Like a million%. And I talked about this with Red Alert already, but I love how the primary color of purple kind of disappears from this guy. And he's green and orange now. I don't know. I like this mode just because of all of the little molded details. It's just, as a kid, I just would have looked at this thing all day. I wouldn't have played with it. I just would have admired it. And his turret can still rotate up and down, and then, left or right, but it can't go behind him, which, isn't necessarily realistic, but as a kid, you love doing it. You also can't angle the missiles forward, which was like the main point of them on the original toy. Now they only go up, which is kind of annoying. I don't know. I really feel the lack of features in this mode, if that makes any sense. Alright, to sum it up, I'm a little conflicted on this guy. Take a look at my silly pictures while I talk. I don't know. I just find this figure kind of ironic because it's a total contrast to the original one from the original Armada line. And I've said original toy about 1,000,000 times in this review, but I feel like, even though I don't have it right now, comparison is justified because that figure was packed full of features. I mean, it was like every single limb had at least one action figure dedicated to it, which is just absurd. But this guy is super screen accurate, and he's very streamlined. He has like one feature. I mean, unless you count transforming as a feature, which I guess it is. But what I'm trying to say is, I think it's funny to see how much we've changed over evolved. Like, if you're a kid that likes to play with toys, you're probably going to like the original figure more, and I don't blame you. But if you're a dork that needs to grow up like me, you're probably going to prefer this figure. And again, I wouldn't necessarily blame you. One thing that I've actually neglected to talk about at all across all of the Armada videos is the lack of minicons. And I wanted to bring it up in this Megatron review because I feel like he is the one that benefited the most from minicons when it came to the original figure. Because every feature on him was dedicated to minicons. And with this, no features, no minicons. It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And I'm a little biased because Leader 1 is the original minicon he came with, and that's probably my favorite minicon. It's kind of an homage to GoBots, and he just looks super badass. But it's just bizarre because literally every Legacy Armada figure, excluding the really weird repaint of Hotshot that's overpriced, is missing their minicon. And I can't help but think that, when they threw the minicons out, they kind of threw the fun out. And again, I really feel it with this guy. He looks great. The paint apps are insane. He has like only one place where there's waffling. But he's just not that fun. You know what I mean? I don't know. Hasbro's kind of said that one minicon equals $5, so I really hope that they release a multi-pack of the 6 to 10 minicons that we're missing at this point, because their absence is so noticeable. It would be like if LEGO started releasing those Ninjago sports cars, but without minifigs. Just a core element would be missing. It's just something that I think Hasbro desperately needs to rectify. And if a character like Sideways comes out with no minicons, it's going to be pointless. Like why even release the figure at that point? That really does make me sound like an angry fanboy, but for people who don't know what Armada Sideways looks like, his head's literally a minicon. It's kind of like a headmaster where you take it off and it becomes the minicon. So if you didn't have that, it would just be really weird, or they would have to like mold the head on. So really, he needs the minicons to function properly. Alright, I think that's enough angry fanboy yapping for one day. I don't know why I've really struggled making this video. I feel like I have a speech impediment all of a sudden. It's like every sentence I would miss it. I would start talking like that. I don't know why. I think I'm a little sleep deprived. But you guys don't care. I've rambled on for like 4 minutes now. I don't really have anything else to say. So I hope you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of your day.
What's happened to the headmasters? Can't they fight without Chrome Dome? Fortress Maximus has come himself. Okay, then I shall get Fortress Maximus to fight me.